everybody, it's Jamie here. This is a photo of my dog Leo, and today we will be doing an 8.5 by 11 layout. This photo I have trimmed down to maybe about 4 by 5, I would say. And what I'm doing is I'm actually going to be doing like a vertical strip layout, and I've grabbed out a few pieces of sort of key embellishments from my stash that I'm going to use. This is some Nouveau embellishment mousse. The color is, it's a gold one. I think it might be champagne. And what I'm doing is coating this frame and also the word with it. I started off by trying to use my finger and then realized that it wasn't giving the effect that I wanted. And if you didn't know, Nouveau embellishment mousse is actually water activated. So I'm using the paintbrush to paint it on just like that, and this is how it turned out. The word turned out amazing. I love it. Look at that shine. It's so pretty. I'm absolutely loving how that looked. I have this mousse in pink and also mint, so I think I'm going to be trying this a lot more often, painting my wood veneer using it. But as I said before, we're going to be doing some stripes. Now, I did want to matte the photo in the same color palette that I'm going to make the stripes. The color palette that I'm going for is neutral pink and also black. That's kind of my favorite color palette personally. When I saw this paper pad at the reject store, I kind of squealed a little bit in the store, and my boyfriend was like, it's just, you know, it's the same to him. He didn't realize that it was so exciting because it's my most favorite color palette. So I'm going to use this paper trimmer. I'm going to be using this to cut some stripes about, it's really only about 1 centimeter. I'm not sure what that is in inches. Sorry guys, here in Australia, you know, I only know the key inch measurements. So I'm going to cut them down just so I can have some colored strips of the paper that I'm using to layer it with. And then I'm just going to use some double-sided tape to matte my photo. This double-sided tape is from Kmart, and it works fantastic. I think I say that in a lot of my videos. If you've seen it before, it works fantastic. It's cheap. It's great. I love it. If you're wondering why I'm using that black piece of paper when I painted, the title is just a scrap piece of paper that I've been using a lot lately just to kind of see how mixed media reacts to paper. And I'm also just using it to paint things over with. I have done a layout that will be coming out soon that I use a bit of green paint on, and I wanted to test it first. Because I was using it on black, so I've kind of just used this black card now to use as a tester sheet. Sorry about that tangent. It was just kind of there in the frame, so I thought I'd let you guys know. So I'm just layering, and I wanted 2 layers on this photo, and I only wanted them to be perfectly around it. I normally do one that's dead center of the layout, and then I normally do it off to the side. But this one I wanted 2 that were the center because I wanted this to be a very sort of, I would call it a symmetrical layout, but it's not symmetrical at all. It's more of a just a one-directional layout, and I didn't want anything on either side to be unbalanced. It's a balanced layout. I wanted this to feel very balanced, so that's why I did the matte all the way around the photo and didn't have any off to one certain side. So what I'm doing is grabbing some washi from my stash and then the paper layers, and I'm going to create horizontal strips across the page that leave probably about 1 inch on either side as a border. And I'm also leaving gaps between the paper. I've been seeing a lot of these on Instagram lately, kind of in like time-lapse form, and I saw how quick a lot of people were doing them. I wanted to give it a try, and it was actually really quick. The majority of the time was actually painting the wood veneer and actually just kind of sticking everything down. I didn't really have to think when doing this layout. The only thing I thought about was just making sure that I didn't have the same either washi tape or pattern paper stacked on top of each other. So what I'm doing here is just sticking down some washi. This washi is from it actually came with my washi storage. I think it's by We Are Memory Keepers, and the top one says something like, "Hello, lovely, darling, beautiful," just, you know, really cute things. This layout I think is quite versatile. You could really change up the colors to be anything. The photo could be anything. It's something that I think would be very easy to scrap lift, and if any of you scrap lift it, please send a photo to me on Instagram. My Instagram is jaymithescrapper, the same as my YouTube channel. I'd love to see it. I love seeing other people's layouts. I'm a big fan of going on Facebook or even Instagram just to get inspired by people's layouts. And personally, I think if someone were to recreate a layout that I've done, I would find that so humbling to see something like that. So if you've done that, show me. I'd love to see it. I'm just folding off the excess washi tape over the back so that it sticks rather than cutting it off. It's just a really quick way to do it. That heart washi tape is from Kmart. I got it ages ago. They may actually still sell it. I haven't been there in a few months. I need to go there again to stock up on some double-sided tape actually, but I think they may still have that washi. It comes in a pack of 4. What I'm doing, like I said, is I'm just sticking the paper layers down, and I've also decided to use some double-sided foam tape just to sort of stack up that photo because of the fact that I'm using that wood veneer at the top and that 3D title piece, yeah, the 3D title piece. I did want it to stand out a bit because it did feel like it was sinking into the background, and the key thing that I like to do is I like to have them really pop. And initially with this layout, I was actually going to have white spaces underneath where I was going to put the wood veneer and the word, but I decided to change my mind and actually do it as a complete background and then stack it on top of it. I'm just putting the scraps back into the paper pad because it's still really new, so I don't want to put it into my scrap paper storage yet. I still want to keep it together as a collection. When it starts to get more dwindling the paper, I will put it into my scrap paper box. Yeah, so I'm just sticking everything down. I hope you guys like this sort of layout. I actually really enjoyed creating this. Number 1, because it was fast. Number 2, I got to use the most beautiful collection I think I've ever seen that is not like crepe paper. I'm a crepe paper fangirl. And I also got to use that Nouveau mousse, and I love that Nouveau mousse, but I kind of get wary on using it because it was really expensive. It was actually probably one of the most expensive things that I've bought as a single product. I think it was like $14, and that's really expensive for me. So I don't really like to use it, but I love how it turned out on this, and it really makes me want to use it a lot more. I use it a lot in art journaling, and I don't use it in my scrapbook layouts a lot, but seeing it on this makes me really want to use it a lot more often. I did just have to cut my double-sided tape if you were wondering what I was doing to have it thin enough. And as you can see, I'm just making sure that I'm not sticking any of the paper colors next to each other. So I've got like a black and white, and then a pink, and then a white sort of one, and then a black, and then a green colored one. And then I'm actually going to do some more washi. And I did the washi because I thought that the paper strips, as they were only 6 inches across, I wanted some differentiation between the strips, and without having only really 6 inches to work with, 6 inches is the biggest I'm going to be able to get. So I wanted to use that washi, and I did actually decide to do another layer on top of that wood veneer later on with the embellishment Nouveau mousse because I didn't think it was dark enough. I did only do one coat on that wood veneer. Sorry, I did only do one coat on that. I think it's a chipboard piece maybe. I'm going to stick it just on top of the photo, and I only put wet glue. Sorry guys, I have hiccups. I only put wet glue on half of the wood veneer because of the fact that I have that foam tape underneath it. It does stick up a little bit, so the bottom of the word isn't actually attached to the thing, but because this PVA glue is actually I find it quite heavy duty. I'm sure you could find a lot more heavy duty stuff around. I find doing it on half of it works. This is the embellishment pack that goes with the paper pad. I just was sorting through it just to find some embellishments that I wanted, and what I wanted sort of not too tiny but not really big embellishments because I wanted to stack them vertically along the layout. What I've got down the bottom there is 2 like floret pieces, and I'm just going to glue those there, and I actually I'm sorry. And I actually am going to stick that little happy word on top of the floret piece just to give it a little bit more detail. I'm grabbing some 3D-esque embellishments from my stash. I've got some stars from Studio Calico, some puffy stickers. Those stickers you can see right on the screen right now are actually from the reject store. And then I'm just grabbing a few wood veneers and resin flowers that are from eBay. And then I'm just going to basically stick it down and not really paying it too much attention to where I'm sticking it. Like I said, the only thing I had in mind is I wanted it to be vertically initially, and then I use tiny little ones to kind of accent it at the top. I wanted it to feel balanced, like I said, and because that photo and the title is down the bottom, it started to feel very bottom heavy, so I wanted to balance that out at the top by adding more embellishments at the top. Down the bottom, all I have is these two florets, the word happy, and I also am going to use a resin flower that is kind of like I would call it I'd call it a neutral peach, but I have no idea what the word is. I think on the website it was called coffee. It looks really quite nice, and I'm just basically grabbing colors that go with this. The great thing about this color scheme is that it is pink as well as being neutral, so I can use my wood veneer, I can use pink resin flowers, I can use gold, I can use black and white. Essentially every embellishment I have I could use with this, which was great. I grabbed out my sticker box and kind of threw out things that I thought I might be able to use. These are 1 inch enamel circles, and you just peel them off and you stick it onto a thing. I was just checking to make sure the size fit. And this sticker book goes with the collection from the Reject Store. It's really cool. It comes with some alphas, I think. I think there's 1 or 2 sets of alphas, and I'm just going to stick that in the center of the page. I think the sticker said something along the lines of, "You're beautiful something," just, you know, a cute little sentiment. What I also decided to do was I love having embellishments that go off the page. And if you didn't know, you can actually cut wood veneer. Now, this is probably the hardest wood veneer I've ever had to cut. The tiny little ones that you can see off to the right of the screen right now are actually, I hope that's right, it's right when I'm recording it. To the right of the screen are very easy to cut, and this one was really, really hard, but I think because they're frames, the material they're made of is a lot more harder, but it did cut, and I just stick it down with some glue, and I will actually cut off that tiny little bit of excess on the top because it wasn't centered with a smaller pair of scissors, but I really, really like how it looks. I love the word love at the top. I like how it's kind of boxing it in, I guess, and kind of pulling your eye down. You see that letter at the top, and then your eyes kind of trickle down because the embellishments are very dead center. They trickle down, you see the photo, and you trickle out of the layout as the bottom embellishment also falls off the page. I love having layouts that actually direct your eye. It's very subtle the way that you do it. Most people do like I think it's called the rule of 3. They have 3. This is doing it very directed. You know, you start at the top, you work your way down. But that's kind of the idea that I had when I was doing this layout. And now you can see I'm kind of just sticking little embellishments around the place because of the fact that it felt very heavy down the bottom and I wanted it to be very balanced. But this is pretty much what I did. I hope you enjoyed this layout. I really like how this turned out. This is where I decided to cut it again because it was not perfect, but I hope you enjoyed this layout. I really enjoyed creating this. I thought it was so fun and it was really quick. This took me about 30 minutes, that's including all the painting, waiting for it to dry. I'm just touching up the top of it. Get your head out of the way. I'm just touching up the top of it with a little bit more of that gold paste, just because where I had cut it, a little bit of the paste had come off. There you go. I'm doubly touching it up now. And then I eventually add a little bit of that on top of the star. I was being very gentle just to make sure it wouldn't go through the star, and I only wanted it to have a tiny little bit of a sparkle. That was it. I wasn't trying to get it coated like I did with the title and the wood veneer piece. But here is the last little embellishment that I add. Just some little pink hearts. These are also from eBay. I think they're $1. But here we are at the end. I hope you enjoyed the process video. I enjoyed the process. Stay tuned for another layout next week. Here I have a close-up photo for the end. Bye, guys!